Alrighty, so the question of the day is, will there be a government shutdown? So some things, some background information for you guys that we need to keep in mind, right? So the first thing is that the presidency, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, they're all controlled by a majority of Republicans. So this government shutdown literally has been brought to you by the House Republicans, and I'm going to explain why. So in Congress, in order for a bill to become a law, first the bill has to be written, right? Because a bill is a proposal of a law. And that happens in the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives writes out bills, and then they send it up to the Senate, who then votes on whether this will become officially a law or just tossed in the garbage, try again. Now, interesting things about this. So before a bill can actually get to the Senate for the senators to vote on, it has to go through the gatekeeper, which would be the Speaker of the House. That's why the Speaker of the House is such an important, powerful position, because the Speaker of the House is the person who decides which of many, many bills, and any representative in the House can write a bill, and if they've got enough sponsors, present it as a bill they'd like to send up to Congress. Other peer sponsors, right? But it's the Speaker of the House that decides, out of these many bills presented to him, which one of these is he going to allow to move forward to the Senate for a vote. Everything else is just going to go in the garbage. Sorry, try again. Okay. So, oh my God, I just forgot his name. This little evil, perverted evangelist, freaking leprechaun. Mike Johnson? I forgot his name. So the Speaker of the House, in any event, so not only has the House Republicans written a bill that is so offensive and so dangerous and so bad, so malevolently bad, that even some of the Senate Republicans are already saying that they're not feeling good about this. They don't want to sign this. This is not good, right? Because it's that bad. And you know, as well as I do, for the last 3 or 4 administrations, maybe longer, the Republican Party in Congress has become more and more and more of a lockstep zombie formation. They don't think for themselves. Everything they do is in group and in unison, right? We've seen this over and over and over again. So, you know, for any of them at this point, especially with this particular Congress, because I've never seen people so spineless and self-serving in my life. Literally, they'd rather watch your children die than risk having to get an actual job after their political career is over. So when any of them are even saying, oh, dude, listen, I'm sorry, this is a bridge too far for me, right? And they're threatening to not walk the party line on this. That's how bad the bill is. Okay. So, and your House Republicans are responsible for this because they wrote the bill, and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, decided, yes, absolutely, we'll let that bill go through for a vote. Mike Johnson, who's also a Republican. Okay. So while this is happening, now here's the important part, right? Two things that are important here. One, this is happening under an eclipse. 2, Mike Johnson, the little slimy toad, do you know what he's done? So not only has he allowed, because he's the gatekeeper, he's allowed this particular bill to go through for a vote, but as soon as it got passed into the Senate hands, he sent all of the House representatives home for 2 weeks. They're on leave for 2 weeks. Okay. So what this means is that when the Senate receives this bill in the next 24 to 48 hours, they're going to have to make a decision, because they can't send it back to the House because no one's there for 2 weeks. Thanks to Mike Johnson deciding now is a great time to send everybody home. So when they receive this bill, they have to vote yes, they're going to pass it, or no, they're not going to pass it. If they vote yes, they're going to pass it. Well, you know, we're screwed, because this is happening under an eclipse. The ripple effect from anything happening on this eclipse, literally, we're looking at August. This is going to spiral out and ripple into August. And this bill's written so badly. Remember, some of the Senate Republicans are like, this is no, dude, that's a big no for me. That's how bad this is, because it does not have any protections written into it to keep Elon Musk and his little incels and other bad faith actors from going in and continuing to hack and slash away at Medicare, Medicaid, and most importantly, Social Security. There's nothing to protect us from them in this bill. They deliberately omitted it, left it out, because they want access. So if they pass it, clearly we know immediately where the problem's going to be, right? If they don't pass it, here's the thing. If they don't pass this bill and they don't get enough votes to sign on with this, they have to send it back to the House to rewrite it or send something else up, right? Whatever it is, that bill is not going to go through. The problem is remember, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, Republican Speaker of the House, he sent the bill up and then proceeded to send everybody home for 2 weeks, which means that if they don't pass it, we're looking at a minimum of a 3-week shutdown, because the reps are gone for 2 weeks. They got to come back, figure half week. And then if they write a new bill in a blazing hurry with crayon on a napkin, and just literally sloppily cobble something together in like 48 hours, we're still looking at an extra week after they get back before anything changes. So looking at a minimum of a 3-week shutdown, which, because this is happening under the eclipse, and the eclipse has a 6-month window, could easily be a shutdown that runs through summer, or the impact of the shutdown will continue and spiral out through summer. There's nothing good here. Saturn is involved, and there's nothing good here. So, I know. It's just what you need. Somebody to give you more reasons to be awake at night. So I'm going to give you 2 things that I need you to consider, depending on which direction, well, not even depending, but as these things are happening and unfolding in front of us. Remember, for 2 weeks, your House representatives from your state are back home with you. All right. So the first thing is, if we do end up in a government shutdown, and especially if you were one of these people who has been laid off temporarily, right? Without pay, or God, all those poor people have to work without pay. They're going to work for free, right? Guess what? House representatives don't have Secret Service agents securing them and protecting them and following them around everywhere. And those House representatives live in your state. They live in your county, your district. They live where you live. So you know what? I'm not saying you should go attack anybody, but I am telling you they're going to be home for 2 weeks. Unless they plan on hiding in the house for 2 weeks, this is a really great time, if you see them, just because you happen to be in the store, restaurant, whatever, where they are, or you just happen to be walking down the block where they live, you let them know. You let them know that you see them. You know who they are. You know where they live. You know where they eat. You know where they shop. And all this mess is their fault. They contributed to this. And this is specifically if your representative is responsible for writing this bill and sending it up. Okay, so they're trying to make it look like this is the Democrats' fault or this is going to be the senator's fault, but honey, this is all starting, obviously, I might add, from the House of Representatives and the damn Republicans in the House that wrote and sponsored this bill. So look it up, find out who they are. If these people live in your state and county, you need to make your presence known. They need to know that you know who they are. They're not going anywhere. What, are you going to move into Mar-a-Lago and be Trump's roommate? So that's that. And listen, you're going to have plenty of free time, so go walk the dog around their house a lot. If this shutdown does not happen, we are in for a world of freaking hurts, because it's going to give unrestricted, unguarded access, even more than he already has, to Musk and his minions to go in and muck around in the systems, right? And listen, this is the modern day and age. The person who controls the computers and the data is the person who controls everything. And he could easily set up, listen, I'm no political sophisticate here, and even I know that he could easily go in and set up little secret backdoors in these systems that allow access, not requiring the normal authorizations and passwords and clearances that these type of software systems would require. And he could easily sell access with those backdoors that he's installed, right, that we don't know about until something happens. He could easily sell that access to other people, bad actors, who want to go in and mess up our systems. And Elon Musk is not for anybody but himself, in case it's not painfully obvious by now. And if you still haven't figured it out, I don't know what to tell you. Jesus, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you. So that's where we're at. This is all happening under the eclipse. Now, the only good thing, so don't panic after I've said all of this. The only good thing that is part of the unpredictability right now is that because this is happening under an eclipse, there's a lot of divine fickle finger of fate in there stirring the pot. So there are a lot of variables that we don't know or see that is all part of a bigger, grander design that are at play. So it may not kick in immediately. It may take 6 months for this whatever this is to happen. But there are other forces at work that make this a much bigger deal than just another government shutdown. This is not like the others. But at the same time, there's a lot of divine intervention and a lot of fickle finger of fate at play in this situation. So there's that. So that's what I got to say. I hate to say it, but I really do think because, oh, right, I should explain how I got here. So I did a Harari chart, and I'll end it here. I made a Harari chart asking if there's government shutdown. Now, the Harari chart was not helpful because it gave me 27 degrees rising, and I'm not personally immediately close to the situation, so it's not unthinkable that I'm not going to get a good chart. And 27 degrees rising on a Harari chart typically indicates that the matter is complete, it's come to maturity, there's nothing you can do to change it, or that the chart is just not reliable because it's too late. You're past the ripeness of the matter, right? So this would suggest, potentially, if the chart's actually radical, that they already know. The people in Congress already know what they're going to do. So this is all planned, They already know if they're going to vote, how they're going to vote. They know how this is going to go down because there's only one of two ways this can go right now because Mike Johnson has put them in a horrible, horrible position, thinking that nobody would ever look at him or the House of Representatives as being responsible for this. Yeah, let's send this up and then immediately send everybody home for 2 weeks so that they can't get the bill back to rewrite it. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, the Harari's not helping, right? Because we've got the moon moving into an eclipse, right? And Saturn's involved. This is never good, right? We've got Pluto at the top of the chart, which suggests power plays and all sort of stuff, which, no news. You don't need a psychic to figure that out. And then Uranus, of course, which rules the 10th house, sits over in the first, but the moon is not making any good. So the moon's not making any good aspects except a trine to Uranus at the very, very end, much later down the road, if the chart's radical. And even then, that's not great because the moon trining Uranus only means that stuff's going to come out in the open. Like things are going to split open and be revealed, right? So Uranus aspects are not easy aspects and certainly not necessarily nice ones. So, we could end up finding out a whole lot of stuff or having the government just break in half like a China vase. I don't know. But remember, 27 degrees rising on a Harari chart, we can't really use the chart. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just look at the eclipse. Let me look at the eclipse patterns. Well, the eclipse pattern is not much better, right? They're doing this under the eclipse. So I will go back and look at, I'm not going to do this to myself. So we're just going to wait and see how this happens. But my suspicion is, unfortunately, we are heading for a shutdown because of the stellar patterns that we're dealing with on this. And I hate to say it, but the shutdown may actually be the better option of the two, because not having a shutdown means that whatever it is that goes through under this eclipse is going to have a spiral effect or a ripple effect for months afterwards, and they won't be good because Saturn is involved. So we'll see. But remember, this all started in the House of Representatives. Those reps, those Republican representatives, are literally what started this and brought this to your yard. Okay, so they're bringing this to your door because, they wrote this crappy bill that even their own Republican senators are like, oh, dude, no, that's a bridge too far for me. That's pretty bad, right? And the Republican Speaker of the House is like, oh, yeah, you know what, let's do a little game playing. I think I'm going to push this through the Senate. And, oh, by the way, everybody, you're on leave for 2 weeks, so they can't send it back to us for at least 2 weeks. All right, so we're looking at a minimum of 3 week shutdown because of the Speaker of the House and the House Republicans. And remember, House Republicans don't have Secret Service like the senators do. They don't have the kind of security they do. So make your presence known. Let them know that you see them. You thank them for their contributions to your financial suffering and misery. Okay, and potential homelessness and inability to feed your kids and having to go to food banks and everything else. You make sure you find out who these Republican representatives in the House are, if they live in your area, because they're home for 2 weeks. And you make sure you stop by and say hi. Because unless they plan on never leaving their house for 2 weeks, they got to go shopping. They got to go eat. They got to go places, right? So, if all else fails, go walk your dog down their street. Say hi. All right, you guys, hang in there. Bye.